right, we are now recording.
Make that bigger.
Yeah, I don't think I can. Yes, I can.
There we go.
All right.
Sweet.
All right, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to the HowMoneyWorks Essentials class. This is where you will learn to stop being a sucker when it comes to your money. I'm Beck Welk, and I'm joined with Stephen Ferrulo, and we will be your financial educators for this session. We want to give you a good start to your financial literacy journey in record time. So the first decision you must make is simple. Will you choose the mindset of a sucker, or will you learn to think like the wealthy? It's a choice. The fact that you've joined this class today is a sign that you are on the right track. Here's the great news. You don't have to be wealthy to think like the wealthy, and you only need knowledge and action. This is your opportunity to gain that knowledge that will prepare you to take action.
And so financial illiteracy is the #1 economic crisis in the world. We know the word sucker sounds insulting to some people. Unfortunately, that's the best way to describe someone who could be taken advantage of because they don't know how these things work. And so not knowing how money works does suck. It can suck up your time, it can suck up your freedom, and it can suck up your income. And so overall, that just sucks.
So over 5 billion people in the world are considered financially illiterate. That references the shocking results of a recent global study. And in this study, only 30% of people in the world are considered financially literate. The study used a simple money quiz to reveal that the vast majority of people from countries all over the world were unable to correctly answer a few simple questions about money. This class will teach you the answers to those questions and many more. It's the reason that we teach this course, and hopefully it's why you're here tonight. So look at those numbers. Can you believe that almost half of Americans don't have enough to cover a $400 emergency, or to make their student loan payments on time, or to pay off their credit cards, or consider retiring? In 2020, with the number of people on unemployment, up and down stock market volatility, and so many people impacted, I'm sure the numbers could be even worse. But here's the good news for you and everyone in this session. With knowledge and action, we can change those numbers. So how did this happen? One way is only 21 states make you take one class on money in high school. And of those that do, they only scratch the surface with topics like balancing a checkbook. Do you think that's enough? What percentage of schools teach sex ed, lacrosse, and broadcast journalism? Almost 50 out of 50. You can't make this stuff up. And it makes no sense to us either.
And so right here, we call this the sucker cycle. It's the trap of foolishly spending and low interest saving that goes on month after month, year after year, slowly sucking away your potential to be wealthy, free, and in control. Every couple weeks, the cycle repeats. Too much eating out, unnecessary online purchases, another streaming subscription. Most people know how to earn money and spend it, and that's about it. So what about all the other options? It's time to break that sucker cycle. And so think of your retirement like an airplane. If it needs both wings to fly, Social Security and your 401k, if you have one, can make up one wing of the income you have to plan to live on for retirement. And the other wing is completely up to you, your responsibility. And if you hope to live on at least 70% of your pre-retirement income, you'll need to be serious about what you put away. And the harsh reality is that no generation is saving enough for today's financial realities. And so looking at these numbers, millennials, Gen Xers, baby boomers, all of them are in trouble when it comes to their second wing. So will you have enough savings to get your retirement off the ground? If you're not sure, schedule a conversation with your financial for professional or someone who invited you to this meeting immediately to discuss this responsibility.
Even if you can get your retirement off the ground, will you have enough income to last the rest of your life? Or will you run out? Here's an example that will shine a bright light on the numbers and the possibility of a savings shortfall. If you don't put enough aside each month at a good enough rate of return, your savings can fall short, putting your retirement income and lifestyle at risk. Depending on your shortfall, you might have to re-enter the workforce, cut back on your lifestyle to live on less, or move in with your kids. How does that sound? See the shortfall, the gray area there between what you saved and how much you need. It should be the focus of every American and their financial professional to close this gap.
So here's what it looks like when you nail it. Gap closed, retirement savings goals reached. This person will have a reliable income because they saved the amount necessary and got the rate of return necessary to reach the savings required to make the retirement they imagined possible. There could be even more money left over to leave as a legacy to their children. So how does that sound? You can work with your financial professional to figure out what your numbers need to be.
Just a quick housekeeping. If you're not muted, can you please mute yourself?
Oh, that's okay.
Not a big deal, but that's all right. So we're going to spend a few minutes learning about the power of compound interest. The power of compound interest refers to the growth potential of money over time by leveraging the magic of compounding, which is interest paid on the sum of deposits plus all interest previously paid, or as Zoe puts it, interest on interest. So the difference between simple and compound interest is substantial. One stays the same and one grows and grows. With simple interest, the $1,500 grows to $8,250. Not much for such a long time as 50 years. And with compound interest, the $1,500 grows to $132,777. In the same 50-year period, that's 16 times more money. Notice how the curve of the graph gets steeper in the later years as the power of compounding really takes off. The exponential power of compounding growth, that's what you want.
So 178 saved each month from 25 to 67 at different returns creates very different results. And most people, they don't understand this, which explains why they choose unfortunate places to save their money. The amount per month and the time are the same. The only change is the rate of return that you get. And this could mean as much as 797% more money at 9% versus 1%. And that's almost a $900,000 difference. And as you can see, your rate of return could be the defining factor that closes your retirement savings gap or leaves you with a significant shortfall. And that's why Albert Einstein said this was the most powerful force he had ever discovered.
So we've all been guilty of squandering time. It's especially costly when you lose the value of money over that time. You never get the time back and the money is lost. Mm-hmm. And there are 3 action steps to leverage the time value of money. Start now, save regularly, and be patient.
So starting earlier, it's always a good idea, guys. It makes a significant difference. And in this case, saving from ages 22 to 30 is better than from ages 30 to 67. $110,892 better than putting away after putting away 4.75 times less money.
So here's a picture of the numbers that breaks it down by age. For each million you want at retirement, you can see the monthly amount you need to save to hit it. At age 30, you need to save $282 per month to have $1 million at retirement. But if you wait until age 40, you now need to save $731 per month. At some point, you will outpace your ability to hit the monthly savings amount required. You simply can't afford it. And at that point, you'll have two choices: shrink your dreams or find a way to earn more money.
Only 20% of children will receive an inheritance. And it's probably even lower now that so many people have faced the challenges of the first half of 2020, even going into 2021 here. So if you want to give your children $1 million at their retirement, which is more realistic here? You either give them each $1 million in cash when they're adults and you've saved enough, or you develop a plan now to save a fraction of that amount for each child when they're young.
So we know how hard it is for retirement-aged parents to preserve an inheritance for adult children. With seniors living longer, almost all of their savings may be required to cover decades of expenses, including medical bills and long-term care. This new reality of longevity can remove the possibility of leaving an inheritance the old way.
So, could you use the money principles that you're learning today to save 1 million for your child or grandchild? It's actually easier than you think.
So in this example, Dana puts $13,000 aside one time and leaves it there from her daughter's birth until her daughter turns 67 years old. It grows at 6.5% to a little over $1 million.
Powerful stuff. If Dana waits until her daughter graduates from high school, her daughter only receives about $300,000 when she turns 67. So what a difference 18 years can make here.
Another example is Hector doesn't have $13,000 sitting around, but he still wants his son to retire with $1 million. He and his relatives can work together to save just $2,500 now and then $250 each month for the next 4 years. Then just like magic, they'll hit that goal too. And his son also retires with $1 million waiting for him.
So if Hector waits until his son turns 18 years old, it's the same story as if Dana had waited, much less, a little over $300,000 again.
So now you see why we call this strategy $1 Million Baby. How appreciative would your kids be one day, perhaps when you're gone, that their parents thought about their future and knew how money works and acted in love to take care of them? That's a thank you that could change your legacy forever.
So are you guys having fun yet? This right here is actually one of my favorite parts. It's time to learn about the rule of 72. And I'm sure some of you have heard about this, but it's a little known mental math shortcut that the wealthy have actually used for years, and everyone should know it. You simply divide any interest rate into the number 72, and it tells you how long it takes for your money to double. And so this works for you if you're saving money or investing money, and it works against you if you're borrowing it. So at 1%, it takes 72 years for 1 million to turn into 2, or $1 to turn into 2, same thing here. And that's a long time. So would anyone knowingly choose that on purpose? Keep that question in mind, and we'll come back to it.
As you can see, the better rate of return you get, the faster your money can double. At 3% every 24 years, at 6% every 12 years, at 9% every 8 years, and at 12% every 6 years. That's more like it.
So remember the question about 1%. Would anyone choose 72 years to double? Well, actually, because people don't know how money works, there's almost $10 trillion sitting in passbook savings accounts that average 0.09%. That's just a fraction of 1%. And when CNBC did a review on our book, How Money Works, um, a few months ago, this is one of the things that they pointed out to be almost unbelievable. And many of the actual institutional savings account rates are even lower than this. Do you see your bank on this list here?
At the average return of 0.09%, if you divide that by 72, you're looking at 800 years for your account to double. By the year 2820, as George says, his great, 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 great grandchildren will love it. And just so we're clear, the same place that gives you a 0.09% can charge you 17% or more for a credit card. That means their money doubles every 4 years. Now you see why the subtitle of the book is Stop Being a Sucker. Now you need to know how money works today, not tomorrow, today. Also, if you don't have a copy of the book, let us know and we'll get it mailed out to you as soon as tonight is over. So yeah, just let us know if you need a copy of the book.
So now we're going to take you through the 7 money milestones. It's your step-by-step action plan designed to help you chart the course from where you are today to financial security and independence. And the good news is that no one is too far ahead or too far behind to benefit from these 7 money milestones.
So each milestone is a critical step to help you reach your financial summit. Because of this time we're spending together tonight, you're increasing your financially literacy concept by concept, strategy by strategy, and learning to take control of your personal finances, which will help you give the confidence to discuss your situation with a financial professional, which we strongly recommend.
So the first money milestone is one you're already on your way to completing. You've actually begun milestone number 1, financial education, which is the first part of this session. You're becoming more financially ready with each page. And also remember, a financial professional is the best person to turn to for questions on the details. And we can discuss this with you if you don't have one or need help choosing one. And here is another way to say it.
So in the war for your money, there are 2 essential tools you'll need to win. We know that the best starting point for everyone is to combine a financial education with a financial professional. Take this education seriously. You didn't get this from school or your parents or your friends. Treat your finances with the level of dedication you put into your health. Google things, ask questions, but then turn to someone you trust that does this for a living.
Proper protection is milestone number 2 for an important reason. You need to protect yourself and your family from possible future loss of income or savings before you begin the rest of this journey. If you were to die prematurely, your family could be left without your income in addition to being without you. Your current savings might not be enough to take care of them.
So how much life insurance should you have? The answer is that it's different for everyone based on your situation. However, as a rule of thumb, we recommend that you consider having life insurance coverage that is at least 10 times your annual family income. As an example, if you earn $50,000 per year, you should consider having $500,000 in coverage. At a conservative 5% rate of return, that would replace half of your income.
For a more specific calculation of your family's need, ask your financial professional. Together, you guys can consider factors like how old you are, how much debt you have, your health, the number of dependents, your role in your business, and your overall financial situation.
The same people who underestimate how much life insurance they need, they also have a tendency to overestimate how much it will cost. Both assumptions can keep families from putting proper protection in place. As insured.com says, only 59% of Americans have life insurance, and about half of those are underinsured.
Life insurance falls into two basic categories. There's temporary and permanent. So first, let's take a quick look at temporary life insurance, which is more commonly called term insurance. And it's called that because it provides life insurance protection for a specified period of time, like 10, 20, or 30 years typically. It's the most affordable life insurance available because it provides one core feature: a death benefit, the money paid to the beneficiary when the insured dies, and because it actually expires after that term.
So, with term life insurance, it's possible to have financial protection for your family or business with a relatively small monthly payment. This can make it a fit for anyone with a limited budget during times of highest financial responsibility, like raising your children, paying off things like your mortgage or college debt, and running your company if you're a business owner.
So, but what happens when the term on your insurance ends? There are two scenarios that you can look at. Scenario number one is that if you don't need coverage anymore, you can simply just let the policy end. No fuss, no muss. But what if after your term, you still need coverage because you're still paying on your home, or you're a single income couple? Or maybe you're supporting grown children or grandchildren, or you're still running your company. For these reasons and for others, you might want to consider scenario two, keeping your term insurance.
This is what we call the financial X wave. In your younger years, represented in the blue on the left, you typically have more responsibility and less accumulated wealth. In your later years, the yellow side, the plan is for your accumulated wealth to increase as your responsibilities hopefully decrease. Term insurance is typically most useful when your responsibilities are higher and your wealth is lower, which is the left side. If these two factors flip later in life as planned, term insurance becomes less practical. And your financial professional can help you look at how the X wave could be applied to your situation.
Now, let's look at permanent life insurance. So, like term, it provides a death benefit to protect your family financially. However, with permanent life insurance, it's designed to be kept and protect you for your entire life, not just a term. So, think of permanent life insurance as a lifelong strategy that can protect your family today, secure your wealth in the future, and provide for your family after you're gone.
So, there are three important benefits of permanent life insurance. Number one is life insurance protection for your entire life. Number two, with many permanent life policies, you can add long term care as an optional rider. And number three is your accumulated cash value, which can give you flexibility with premiums. So, what this means is if you ever can't pay your premiums for some reason, they can be paid out of your cash value account.
So let's talk about what the cash value component of permanent insurance is and why it can be so important. A portion of your monthly premium is set aside into an account that grows over the life of your policy. The money in that account is your cash accumulation and can be used to fund future purchases. You see a few possibilities here on the screen. In addition to no market risk and tax-free growth, income, and legacy, as we just mentioned. Life insurance cash value can also be creditor proof, meaning that creditors can't come after it. And when you look at them all together, the advantages of cash value benefit are very powerful.
So, long term care insurance coverage helps cover out of pocket expenses that can really add up. It can be used to pay for qualified expenses like nursing home care, home health care, assisted living care, or adult daycare. And you never know if or when you might need it.
And if you do end up needing it, the average long term care need, if more than 1 year, lasts 3.9 years. And as you can see here on the screen, the average total cost can be a crippling expense if not covered by a policy. And the cost with long term care coverage could drain one or more of your savings assets you were counting on for the future.
There are a couple of long-term care options that you should look at. The first is a traditional standalone policy. Even if you don't have life insurance, you can go directly to an insurance company to purchase a standalone long-term care policy. Or you can opt to add a rider to your permanent life insurance policy. If it's available for your permanent life insurance policy, you can add long-term care protection to the policy in the form of a rider for an extra cost. Everyone should look into this option.
So long-term care riders aren't the only riders available. You can also consider other living benefits like critical and chronic illness riders that can help save the day if you face any of the health challenges like you see on the screen. You should discuss adding these riders to your permanent life insurance policy with your financial professional. Some are inexpensive or even cost nothing extra to add on there.
So once you've covered milestone number 2, it's time to tackle milestone number 3, creating your emergency fund. We recommend you save at least 3 to 6 months of your annual income to prepare for any unexpected expenses like unforeseen medical bills, home appliance repairs or replacement, and hassles like major car fixes. And don't forget, costliest of all, possible unemployment.
So if you're currently living paycheck to paycheck, like many people are today, your emergency fund could be the insulation that separates you from financial disaster if something ends up happening. So check out these sample annual incomes and how much you'll need to fit our 3 to 6 months income guideline. There's just two rules for an emergency fund. Rule number one, your emergency fund is only for unexpected emergencies. That's all. This isn't for gifts, getaways, or online shopping. It doesn't matter if it sits in your checking, savings, or a separate account, as long as you're not tempted to use it for anything but an actual emergency. So rule number two is if you need to use the emergency fund to fix a car, replace the fridge, or pay for braces for the kids, don't hesitate to use this money. That's actually what it's for. Just make sure that afterwards, you add a little bit back every month until that emergency fund is replenished.
Once you've worked out with your financial professional to square away your proper protection and emergency fund, it's time to talk about managing your debt, which is milestone number 4. Before you can fully enjoy financial security and independence, you'll need to look at your spending habits and strive to reduce and eventually eliminate your debt.
The average American today has $28,900 in personal debt, not including mortgages, and many have much more than that. And don't forget, over half of Americans suffer from some kind of anxiety related to debt. And when debt is removed, we can enjoy life more fully and freely. And things have been hard with all that's been going on right now. So here are 5 tips to eliminate and stay out of debt. So know what you owe, no more late payments, go after one debt at a time, stop charging and cancel unused subscriptions, and consider refinancing your mortgage. So let's dig into each tip, starting with know what you owe.
So increasing your cash flow is milestone number 5. While the suckers gripe about how tight things are, the wealthy are plotting how to free up more cash flow. This means seeking out ways to earn additional income and better managing their expenses. Let's investigate on how to do this.
So here are a few things that you can do to increase your cash flow. Create and stick to a budget. develop a written game plan, reduce spending on expenses like car and home insurance, reposition your savings, drop PMI, private mortgage insurance, if you qualify. Always remember your financial professional can help guide you through these ideas and more.
There are 3 big moves to supercharge your cash flow. You can add a side gig, which is any additional income is almost a quicker way to reach your financial goals than just trying to spend less. A recent survey found that 45% of US workers have a side gig earning on an average of $1,122 per month. Maybe it's time for you to get in on the action, or you could start a business. And low-cost business opportunities are out there. As Steve Siebold says, find a problem people have and solve it. By becoming an entrepreneur part-time, you could leverage time outside of your day job. And as your income increases, a moment could soon come when you transition away from being an employee to being a full-time entrepreneur with even more control of your cash flow. Don't forget, you can adjust your W-2 allowances, and some people celebrate receiving a big tax refund each year. If that's you, consider this. By adjusting your W-2 allowances, more of your cash could be in your paycheck all year long instead of with the IRS. But consult your tax professional before making any changes.
Milestone 6 is a big one and an exciting one. It focuses on building wealth. This is the milestone where results appear on your bottom line. And this is where you avoid the impact of taxes, losses, and inflation and do your best to accumulate and grow your net worth.
With the possibility of longevity adding so many years to your life, that brings up one question. Will your wealth last as long as you do? You have to be able to answer that question.
In addition to that, there are 4 threats every wealth builder must conquer. Think of these as your wealth building enemies. Each will come at you from a different direction. And to beat them, we'll have to address them each individually. So let's start with one of the worst, procrastination. As one quote says, procrastination can be hands down our favorite form of self-sabotage. Then we'll pick apart market losses, inflation, and of course, taxes.
Inflation is known as the tax of time. The annual inflation rate has averaged right at about 2.8% for the last 100 years. Can you approximate the number of years it takes the cost of goods to double at a steady 2.8% annual inflation rate? I'll give you a hint. Remember the rule of 72 from earlier? It's time to put your knowledge to the rule of 72 to work. The answer is almost 26 years. And one of the essential reasons to build wealth using the power of compound interest is to stay ahead of inflation. When you know that this enemy is slowly devaluing your savings by raising the cost of goods, it should drive you to be even more committed to your growth building strategy. Don't let it scare you, let it drive you to action.
So the next enemy to wealth building is the impact of losses. It's often underestimated. It's a threat that can wreck your savings goals and force you to adjust your lifestyle in retirement. Here's a simple picture that illustrates how people miscalculate the impact of losses. If you were to lose 50% of your investment, which happened twice in the stock market in the last 20 years, what percentage of gain would you need to get back to 100%? The answer is 50%, right? Wrong. It actually takes 100% gain after a 50% loss to get back to even. And that's not easy to do, which is why it's so important to protect what you have. Maybe this is the reason Warren Buffett famously said this about investing. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. So what can you do to prevent losses? First, look at every option to reduce the risk. Second, consider how best to diversify your portfolio. And third, utilize the right financial vehicles for your situation. Remember, don't procrastinate on this. Consider inflation and talk with your financial professional about the ways to reduce or remove the impact of losses from your strategy.
And last, the impact of taxes, the 800-pound gorilla of wealth building threats. Nobody likes paying taxes, especially when you're preparing for retirement. The tax strategy that you put in place today can determine how much money you keep, how much money you pay the government, and ultimately, how much money you leave for your children. Understanding how financial vehicles are taxed differently can help you make strategic decisions that can pay off big time down the road.
So if you save $10,000 at age 29 and earn a 9% annual rate of return each year, you would have $250,000 when you reach 65. Think like a farmer for a second. Would you rather pay taxes on the seed or the harvest? Of course, whichever is smaller, which is usually what you start with. A farmer would rather pay taxes on the seed, not the harvest. And an investor would rather pay taxes on the money before it grows, not after. You either pay taxes now, later, or never. Which one will apply to you? It depends on the vehicle you choose. Again, we say this over and over, but this is where your financial professional can come in to help you.
So there are three components of a reliable retirement income. We recommend that you consider all three of them. Maintain potential for growth by participating in the upside growth potential tied to the stock market. Reduce or remove potential losses by eliminating downside risks tied to the market. And three, create a predictable income that lasts and prevents the possibility of running out of money in retirement with an income stream that you can count on.
And the last milestone, protect your wealth by creating a will and guarding your legacy. This is even something that the rich miss sometimes.
Prince and Aretha Franklin, both of whom died just a few years ago, had sizable estates, but neither had an estate plan. Both left their families and business partners with an emotional, financial, and legal mess, which took years to sort out. This shows how important it is to protect your wealth with an estate plan. According to Rocket Law Survey, 64% of Americans don't have a will. Not surprisingly, the number is higher for younger Americans, 70% of those aged between 45 and 54, than for older Americans, which 54% of those aged 55 to 64 do not have a will. Prince was only 57, and your estate plan is how you protect your wealth, your family, and your legacy when you die or if you're incapacitated. It's how your wishes and decisions are carried out.
So there are 4 documents your estate plan should include. You'll need a will, your financial power of attorney, an advanced healthcare directive or living will, and a HIPAA release. Your legal professional can help you put all of this in place.
Having an estate plan in place can help you avoid the government making the decisions about who gets your property and who takes care of your children. The process of a court administering an estate in accordance with state laws is called probate, and nobody wants to go through that if they don't have to. This is one of the most important reasons to put your estate plan in place right away.
You can also help your family and business partners avoid unnecessary expenses and delays with the probate process with one additional estate planning tool, a trust. Trust can do many things for you. Again, your legal professional can give you the best advice when it comes to putting together a trust.
If you think estate planning will be too expensive or time consuming, then you haven't considered the cost to your loved ones down the road. The truth is, there are options for almost every budget. We recommend you put this milestone in place straight away.
So we're almost finished here. Think about what concepts resonated with you the most. That's why we started on this mission of eradicating financial illiteracy in our country. And this is how you start to take control of your finances. We call it the money discovery. This works like driving directions on your mobile phone. 2 points of reference is really all you guys need, where you are and where you want to go. The same is true to chart the course for your financial roadmap. The How Money Works discovery in the book can help you take care of that. And of course, we suggest that you share this information with your financial professional to make sure you're on track to reach your dreams.
Discuss these concepts and review the milestones with a financial professional. If you currently don't have a financial professional to turn to, the first of the 7 money milestones is financial education. Since you've hopefully read the How Money Works book, you've already started down the path of learning how it really works. We can help you walk through the other 6 milestones. We do that in 2 steps. The first is a discovery call where we spend about 15 minutes identifying where you are now in your financial life and, most importantly, where you want to go. Then our team spends a few days crunching numbers, searching the financial industry for the best products and services to meet your needs, and identifying the ones that best fit your current situation and future goals. Then we have a solutions appointment where we have a screen share and walk you through the steps that we recommend you take to achieve your goals. Don't procrastinate. Set up a meeting today.
Awesome. All right. And that concludes our presentation.
We hope everyone enjoyed it. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the person that invited you afterwards. We realize that these classes do take up a little bit of time, so we don't want to take any more of your time. So make sure if you do have any questions, just to reach out to whoever invited you, and they can sit down and have a deeper conversation with you and properly answer your questions.
Yep. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming and have a good night.
Hold on.